It's important when you're doing polygonal modeling to keep an eye on the polygon count. Each polygon takes memory, which equates to additional time in a rendering. I'll turn on edged faces and you can see the polygons here on the screen. We have quite a number of them, especially in these objects, and probably on the finial as well. 3ds Max 9 has a feature called Show Statistics, and it tells us the polygon count right here in the viewport. Previous versions of Max and all versions of Viz have a polygon counter utility that you can access over here. It might be under More, depending on whether it's shown as a button or not. We don't have that utility any longer in 3ds Max 9. But it works just the same. It shows you the total number of polygons and the number of polygons in the selected object. I'll select an object here, and we can make Max 9 show us that information too. I'll go back up to the Viewport menu and Configure, go to the Statistics tab, and set this up to show the total number plus the selection. Now it tells us that this fixture body object has about 3,000 polygons. We can try to reduce that number by using the Optimize modifier. This reduces the complexity of the object. So we have a few less here. It's not very significant. If you increase this face threshold to a higher number, you'll get a lower polygon count. But beware, because you might distort the geometry. I'd like to look at that with edge faces off, just to see what we have. We're kind of ruining the beveled effect here. We can see it in silhouette, but we can't see it any longer looking straight on the object. If I make the face threshold 6, we have a shading problem. Let's try 5. Now we got the bevels back, but we still have about 3,000 polys here. I'll turn on edged faces. If you turn off Optimize, you just get a few extra polys, so this isn't really helping very much. We might use it just to clean up the mesh structure. I'll use Auto Edge, and we have a simplified look to the object in edged faces mode, which might be helpful while we're working, but it isn't going to help a rendering. So as you can see, Optimize doesn't always help. Let's try it again down here on this lamp object. It might have a more beneficial effect here. I'll use Optimize and toggle off edged faces mode so we can see what's happening here. So before we used it, we had about 4,400 polys. That's quite a lot. After optimizing, we have 820. And I must say that we have kind of a shading problem now. I'll set the face threshold at 3. It looks a little better maybe, but we have 1,000 polys. How about at 2? Now that looks pretty good. It looks nice and smooth, and yet we have only 2,000 polys. So that was a big reduction from 4,400 down to 2,100. It looks about the same. The leaf objects only have 28 polys, so they're not even worth optimizing. The finial has 879, so we can try to reduce that a bit too. I'll try it with 12, and we reduced it a bit. Now the number jumped up for some reason here. I don't think it was giving us an accurate count before. So without it, it says we have 879, and with it, it says we have 2,100. So in this case, we actually are adding polys to the object and making it look worse. So I'm going to get rid of Optimize here. It's not helping. Now overall, we've reduced the number of polys in the scene to 6,113. Let's just make a comparison. I'll turn off these modifiers. So we reduced it by a significant fraction by adjusting the optimize modifier on various objects. It's always important that you do that to try to minimize the amount of time that you have to spend making a rendering.